Greetings. My name is Kathy Keary, and I have the honor of serving at the Precious Blood Renewal Center as a spiritual director. Within our Contemplative Life series, we'll begin to offer videos where we'll walk the viewer through various types of contemplative prayer. Our hope is that this will be a benefit not only to individuals, but also groups who may be interested in utilizing this resource in their gatherings. Contemplative prayer responds to the deep hunger that God placed in our hearts to be in communion with the divine. It opens the door for intimate communication with our Maker. Our prayer today will be focused on gratitude. Meister Eckhart, a 13th century mystic, once said, "If the only prayer you said was thank you, that would be enough." A beautiful sunset, a melody, the smell of flowers, a gentle breeze ruffling your hair. The universe is full of beauty and goodness. However, as we go through our lives, we're often not present to the beauty that surrounds us. Religious and spiritual traditions around the world, and now science too, tells us that we should pause and take time for gratitude. New studies are showing that doing so actually rewires our brains to experience more beauty and goodness. The act of noticing it helps us to see more of it. Studies show that practicing gratitude brings joy into our lives. Today I'll walk you through a guided meditation where I'll ask you to use your imagination as you enter into the familiar scene of Jesus feeding the multitude. As I read the gospel story, I invite you to enter into the scene as a witness to all that's taking place. Picture the landscape, the weather, the time of day, the multitude of people who have flocked to Jesus, the activity and gestures of Jesus, the apostles, and the crowd. You might want to close your eyes to help you visualize the story. I will begin. A reading from the Gospel of Matthew. When he disembarked and saw the vast crowd, his heart was moved with pity for them, for they were like sheep without a shepherd, and he began to teach them many things. By now it was already late, and his disciples approached him and said, "This is a deserted place, and it's already very late. Dismiss them so that they can go to the surrounding farms and villages and buy themselves something to eat." He said to them in reply, "Give them some food yourselves." But they said to him, "Are we to buy 200 days' wages worth of food and give it to them to eat?" He asked them, "How many loaves do you have? Go and see." And when they had found out, they said, 5 loaves and 2 fish. So he gave orders to have them sit down in groups on the green grass. The people took their places in rows by hundreds and by 50s. Then taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he said the blessing, broke the loaves, and gave them to his disciples to set before the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied. And they picked up 12 wicker baskets full of fragments and what was left of the fish. Those who ate of the loaves were 5,000 men. So let's imagine the story in more detail. So let's just silently reflect. What do you think when you hear Jesus tell the disciples to feed the people? What's going on in your mind? What thoughts surface when you hear that there are only 5 loaves and 2 fish to feed this multitude of people? What emotions surface? What thoughts surface when Jesus says the blessing, thanking God for the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, knowing that they're to feed a multitude of people? Imagine what happens next. Visualize what went on. We know that everyone ate and were satisfied. Picture this scene. What thoughts arise as you witness this scene? What emotions surface? Does this remind you of anything? Reflect on how God has blessed you. What is your response to God? What is your prayer? Now take just a moment to silently rest in God's loving embrace. Amen.